It's been a while since I've done a Record of Ragnarok what if battle, so I thought of something interesting I haven't done before. Thor vs Zero, a battle of the gods. First, some clarification. I'm only using the Zero transformation that was defeated by Buddha, not Hajun, so with that out of the way, let's begin by explaining their power and abilities, starting with Thor. I've been covering Record of Ragnarok as a series now for over a year, so make sure to subscribe if you enjoy chapter reviews, what if battles, explain videos and much more to come. Labelled as the following: Nordric's strongest god, Thunder God Thor, with his weapon being able to tear apart seas and lands. Like many of the other fights, Thor and Lubu are called the strongest or a battle between the strongest. This same line or a similar line is used for most Ragnarok fights, so at this point it's not really relevant to any arguments as it's used so many times. Or at least that's my view on it. As expected, Thor can use electricity as well, being able to make the entire arena full of it, but doesn't seem to damage his opponent while using it. It's more focused on amplifying his hammer. Regarding his backstory, which featured him wiping out the 66 giants alone, which created his legend among the gods have told tales of his glory, with him having the respect of other gods like Odin and Zeus. However, this feat was still greeted with boredom from Thor as he didn't get to go all out or really showcase his power during that fight. Regarding Thor's durability, he was cut quite easily by Lubu's attack, so it's safe to say he won't be directly tanking attacks from Zero with his body. On that note, he's also a fighter who's willing to dodge to make up for his lacking of durability, but still isn't tanky whatsoever. Thor's weapon and gloves, but more so his weapon, based on what we learn later, is some of Heaven's strongest according to Brynhilde, but this is expanded on later, making it the strongest, or as it states here, the strongest of the divine, capable of shattering earth, which is one of the best statements in all of Ragnarok and can be used for a cross-burst battle setting as one of the best, but in today's context of Thor vs Zero, it's still quite important, which I'll get into later. However, many might think his hammer is what carries him in battle, but you'd be wrong if you thought that. The reason he had those gloves on was to protect the base form of the hammer from the weight of Thor's swings. Quite a flex if I say so myself. Has the ability to throw his hammer as well, but if the throw misses, he can use the energy from that throw to unleash a stronger attack, but with the throw it's kind of more so based on amplifying his attack rather than trying to hit his opponent, but I'm guessing he can actually, destroy people with the throw alone. This is also labelled as Garrod, a technique that was able to win the battle against the Great Serpent. We don't actually see this battle, but I'm guessing it's important as Odin pointed it out. And when using this amplified attack, even when blocked, he left a crater in the ground and destroyed Lubu's legs. So even blocking this attack won't protect you. But he can also unleash a stronger form as Garrod, as the attack he used to clash with Lubu at the end, or clash with Lubu's Sky Eater, was the strongest Garrod he had used. He defeated Lubu, making the arena blow up somewhat with this light going everywhere, and destroying Lubu's whole army on top of that. After all this, Thor's boredom still somewhat remained, or that's what it seemed like, kinda implying Thor still had more power to showcase, and we still don't know what he's truly capable of. But for now, we can't really say, so that's everything for Thor. Now on to Zero. Starting with his hype panel after the fusion of the Lucky Gods, or the return of the main Lucky God, I guess, however you want to view it. With this kind of meaning he can destroy the earth or cause great damage, but not actually like shatter it like Thor's legend, or his hammer's legend at least. With Hermes also seeming to be excited with the arrival of Zero, so he is quite strong regardless. With his weapon being the Misery Cleaver, having the ability to get bigger and change forms as it absorbs more misery, and as expected, the more destructive it becomes with more misery, even with it destroying parts of the arena in its early stages, and can still swing it around pretty fast with multiple attacks. Then as it grows with misery, it can turn into this, an undodgeable attack for someone like Buddha who has future sight as well. So Thor isn't dodging this for sure. It also has this transformation, but regarding his durability, if light attacks from Buddha can do this, he won't be surviving a direct hit from Thor's hammer, that's for sure. Another transformation of his weapon that gives him more speed, and this Misery Storm, but the storm attacks seem to be destroyed quite easily, as Buddha can easily cut them with his short sword transformation, but they do seem quite fast and do track you. However, based on the amount of misery he has, he does seem to become more unstable and more insane, which does limit his strategizing and overall battle intelligence or battling ability. Now onto the what if battle. Both can damage each other if they hit a direct attack. Both would most likely be relative in speed, as nothing in their fights can properly prove a blitz would occur, and they will be allowing Zero to get misery amps, even though the misery and his overall power seems to be more based on his rage and anger at Buddha himself rather than anyone else. I'm just going to replace Buddha with Thor so he can still get the misery amps, because if he doesn't, he would most likely get clapped quite easily. Now let's begin. Both fighters would most likely be dodging and parrying around the start, this clashing into one another, with the suppressed hammer versus the regular sized cleaver most likely going in the favour of Thor, which of course will result in Zero to get multiple misery amps as the fight continues, and also Thor to unleash more power corresponding to those misery amps as well, similar to what he did against Lu Bu and what Zero did against Buddha. So it'll start out in a similar way, with Thor being clearly in the lead until misery amps keep coming, and Thor needs to keep up with the misery amps by adding his electricity to the hammer, and also the hammer going through its transformations and him removing his glove or his gloves breaking off. And this will most likely happen due to the whole boredom thing still being relevant to Thor and him wanting to have a good fight, so he's going to wait for Zero to unleash more and more of his power so he can also test himself. This will of course result in more clashing until the true form of Thor's weapon arrives and the super large attack from Zero is getting ready to go. Similar to the Thor vs Lu Bu, this will be a huge clash between the two. So the question is, which one do I think is stronger? Considering that Thor's hammer is described as the strongest of the divine with a focus on raw destructive power, and that his clash with Lu Bu did this to the arena, I'm gonna have to say Thor's hammer should be stronger based on what we got. Yes, Zero's attack is larger and undodgeable, but Thor, in my opinion, will have more power with it, and we don't actually know how much stronger it was compared to Lu Bu's Sky Eater, but it seemed to be a pretty big difference. And we have seen the weapons of the gods get destroyed, so it's possible he destroyed Zero's weapon with this attack, and of course straight after that one-shot Zero, as one direct hit from Thor's hammer would absolutely destroy Zero. However, that's just one way the fight would go. Let's say that the clash happens, Thor is shown to be superior in raw power, but Zero can still change his weapon and use the Storm Cleaver formation. The only answer I see Thor having for this is throwing his hammer at the attack or Zero directly, as he seems to be standing still while using it. It can definitely break through as Buddha could easily, but it's possible he could get hit and die. As Thor did show dodging ability, but not that much, not to the level of Buddha at least, as he doesn't have future sight, and those attacks of course will damage Thor. So that is one way Zero could win, but if I had to place my bet, Thor would be victorious in this what if battle. Based on both of their fighting styles, how it's more so focused on clashing with one another, I think Thor would win that. And for all we know, even at the start of the fight where Thor's suppressed power against Zero's suppressed power, Thor could already have too much power, and even without direct shots could break Zero down, similar to what he did against Lu Bu's legs. So yeah, Thor takes this one in my opinion. Let me know what you think down below. Hope you enjoyed. As always, shout out to the people who support the channel via the Patreon. But yep, that's it guys. Peace.